You arrived at this video at the perfect moment because Rudolf Steiner's Guide to Dreaming, Why Your Night Visions Matter More Than You Think, is exactly what is happening in your life right now. You've been experiencing dreams that feel different, more meaningful, more urgent than before, and somewhere deep in your soul. You know these night visions are trying to tell you something profound about your spiritual awakening. Steiner discovered that your dreams matter more than you think because they are not random neurological firings, but direct communications from the spiritual world. And right now, as you're watching this, your soul is calling you to understand why your night visions have become so significant in your spiritual development. You are living through a time when the veil between your waking consciousness and the supersensible world is thinning, and your dreams have become the primary gateway through which higher spiritual truths are attempting to reach you. Steiner revealed that when someone begins to sense their night visions matter more than they previously believed, it signals that their consciousness is preparing for a profound expansion beyond the limitations of ordinary sensory perception. Your dreams are not meaningless fragments of daily experience, randomly reassembled by a sleeping brain. They are symbolic communications from your higher self, from spiritual beings, and from cosmic forces that are actively working to guide your soul's evolution. Every night when you close your eyes, you enter what Steiner called the realm of imagination, inspiration, and intuition, where your soul temporarily withdraws from the physical body and engages directly with spiritual realities that your day consciousness cannot perceive. Your recent dreams that feel more vivid, more emotionally charged, more symbolically rich than ever before, are evidence that you are developing what the ancient mystery schools called seeing the sun at midnight, the capacity to maintain conscious awareness within the spiritual dimensions that open during sleep. When you dream of flying, of meeting mysterious figures, of receiving messages you can't quite remember, but that leave you with profound feelings upon waking, you are experiencing direct contact with the angelic hierarchies and spiritual beings who work formatively upon human consciousness during the night hours. Steiner understood that your night visions matter more than you think because they represent your soul's natural capacity to transcend the limitations of physical existence and engage with the eternal cosmic dimensions of reality. The dreams you've been having lately, perhaps dreams where you receive guidance, where you solve problems that seemed impossible during the day, where you encounter deceased loved ones who offer comfort and wisdom. These are not psychological projections, but actual spiritual encounters occurring in the realm where your soul naturally belongs. Edison dreamed the solution to the light bulb, and countless artists, scientists, and spiritual seekers throughout history have received their greatest inspirations through the symbolic language of dreams because the night consciousness operates according to spiritual laws rather than physical limitations. You are being called right now to recognize that your dreams are a bridge to the spirit, a threshold to spiritual reality where your consciousness can deepen its immersion in the divine flow of existence. The fact that you're questioning why your night visions seem more significant lately, why you wake with the feeling that something important happened during sleep even when you can't remember the details, why certain dream symbols keep recurring with increasing intensity, all of this indicates that your soul is ready to consciously participate in the spiritual work that occurs during sleep. Steiner discovered that when someone begins to understand why their night visions matter more than they think, they are standing at the threshold of developing supersensible consciousness, where day and night awareness become unified in service of their soul's highest mission. Steiner would spiritually explain why your night visions matter more than you think by revealing that during sleep, your astral body and ego organization withdraw from the physical and etheric bodies, allowing your consciousness to enter the spiritual world where it naturally belongs. You are not simply dreaming in the conventional sense. You are participating in what he called the cosmic midnight hour, where your soul engages in active spiritual work, receives teachings from higher beings, and processes karmic experiences that shape your destiny. When you understand that your night visions matter more than you think, you begin to recognize that sleep is humanity's daily return to the spiritual homeland, where the soul replenishes itself with cosmic forces and receives guidance for its earthly mission. The reason your dreams have become more meaningful lately is that your consciousness is developing what Steiner termed dream consciousness, the capacity to maintain a thread of awareness while your soul travels through the spiritual dimensions. You are experiencing the early stages of what the ancient initiates cultivated deliberately, the ability to bring conscious participation to the spiritual work that occurs during sleep. Your night visions matter more than you think because they are preparing you for the next stage of human evolution, where the boundary between sleeping and waking consciousness dissolves, and you become a conscious collaborator with the spiritual beings who guide human development. Steiner discovered that when someone begins to sense their dreams carry profound significance, it indicates their guardian angel is working more intensively to communicate essential guidance for their soul's current incarnation. You are receiving what he called imaginations, symbolic pictures that convey spiritual truths your ordinary thinking cannot grasp directly. The recurring symbols in your dreams, the emotional intensity that lingers after waking, the sense that you've been somewhere important even when details fade. These are signs that your night consciousness is becoming a bridge between the sensible and supersensible worlds, allowing you to access wisdom that transcends the limitations of physical brain-bound thinking. Consider how Kekulé discovered the structure of benzene through a dream of a snake biting its tail, or how Tesla received his alternating current innovations during sleep states. These weren't random neurological events, but demonstrations of how night visions matter more than conventional science recognizes. Your soul, like theirs, is capable of receiving direct spiritual insights that bypass the analytical mind and deliver complete understanding through symbolic revelation. Steiner taught that every human being possesses this capacity, but only those who recognize that their night visions matter more than they previously thought begin to develop conscious access to this supersensible knowledge. The solution to fully awakening this capacity lies in what Steiner called retrospective meditation, the practice of reviewing your dreams not as psychological curiosities, but as spiritual communications requiring conscious interpretation and integration. You must begin treating your night visions as sacred texts written in the symbolic language of the spirit, understanding that each image, emotion, and narrative sequence carries specific guidance for your soul's development. When you approach your dreams with the reverence they deserve, recognizing that your night visions matter more than you think, you begin to develop the spiritual organs of perception that allow conscious participation in the cosmic processes that shape human destiny. If you're ready to deepen your understanding of why your night visions matter more than you think, subscribe now to continue this journey into Steiner's revolutionary insights about dream consciousness and spiritual awakening. Tell me in the comments what recurring symbols or themes have been appearing in your dreams lately that feel like they're trying to communicate something important about your spiritual development. The awakening process that allows you to fully understand why your night visions matter more than you think begins with what Steiner called conscious sleep preparation, the deliberate cultivation of spiritual receptivity before entering the dream state. You must approach each night not as an unconscious retreat from daily life, but as a sacred threshold crossing where your soul prepares to receive direct spiritual instruction. Before sleep, you consciously formulate a question or spiritual concern, holding it gently in your heart as you drift into the realm where your night visions can deliver the guidance that matters more than your rational mind could ever comprehend. This practice transforms sleep from passive unconsciousness into active spiritual research, where your dreams become laboratories for receiving supersensible knowledge. As you develop this conscious approach to sleep, you begin to notice that your night visions matter more than you think, because they start responding directly to your spiritual inquiries, delivering symbolic answers that address your soul's deepest questions about purpose, relationships, and spiritual development. Steiner taught that when you treat your dreams as sacred communications rather than random mental activity, your consciousness develops what he called etheric memory, the capacity to retain and interpret the spiritual experiences that occurred during sleep. You start remembering not just the images and narratives of your dreams, but the profound feelings of understanding, the sense of receiving important guidance, the direct knowing that transcends ordinary thinking processes. The key to this awakening lies in understanding that your night visions matter more than you think, because they operate according to spiritual laws rather than physical causation. Unlike your daytime consciousness, which processes information sequentially through logical analysis, your dream consciousness receives complete spiritual insights through what Steiner termed living pictures, Yesja, symbolic representations that contain entire universes of meaning within single images. When you dream of water, you're not simply processing memories of physical water, but receiving communications about the flow of cosmic life forces through your soul. When you dream of light, you're experiencing direct contact with the Christ consciousness that illuminates all spiritual development. When you dream of deceased loved ones, you're engaging in actual spiritual meetings that occur in the realm where souls continue their evolution beyond physical death. The most profound awakening occurs when you realize that your night visions matter more than you think, because they reveal your soul's participation in the cosmic processes that guide human evolution. Steiner discovered that during sleep, consciousness doesn't simply shut down, it expands to encompass the spiritual dimensions where your individual development serves the greater spiritual evolution of humanity. Your dreams of flying represent your soul's natural capacity to transcend physical limitations. Your dreams of teaching or healing others reveal your spiritual mission to serve human awakening. Your dreams of ancient places or future scenarios show your soul's participation in the eternal stream of spiritual development that connects past, present, and future incarnations. As this understanding deepens, you begin to experience what Steiner called continuity of consciousness, the gradual dissolution of the sharp boundary between sleeping and waking awareness. Your night visions start to matter more than you ever imagined, because they become conscious spiritual experiences rather than unconscious mental phenomena. You develop the capacity to maintain a thread of awareness during sleep, allowing you to participate consciously in the spiritual work that your soul performs during the night hours. This is the beginning of what the ancient mystery schools called initiation, the conscious awakening to your soul's eternal nature and its active participation in the spiritual forces that guide cosmic evolution. The full resolution of understanding why your night visions matter more than you think culminates when you realize that conscious dream work is not just personal spiritual development, but your soul's contribution to the cosmic awakening of human consciousness itself. Steiner revealed that every person who develops conscious participation in their night visions becomes a bridge between the spiritual world and physical reality, helping to anchor higher spiritual forces into earthly existence. You are not simply improving your own spiritual life, you are serving the evolution of consciousness that will eventually allow all humanity to maintain continuous awareness across the threshold of sleep and death. Your night visions matter more than you think, because they are preparing you to become what Steiner called a conscious spiritual collaborator in the great work of transforming human civilization through direct spiritual knowledge. The practical, Integration of this understanding begins with establishing what Steiner termed rhythmic spiritual practice, the daily cultivation of conscious relationship with your dream life through morning reflection, evening preparation, and ongoing symbolic interpretation. You create a sacred dream journal where you record not just the content of your night visions, but the spiritual insights they reveal about your soul's development and mission. Each morning, you spend time in meditative reflection, asking not, "What did this dream mean?" but "How is my soul being guided through this symbolic communication?" You begin to recognize patterns, recurring themes, and progressive spiritual teachings that unfold through your night visions over weeks and months, understanding that your dreams matter more than you think because they constitute a continuous spiritual curriculum designed specifically for your soul's awakening. As you integrate this practice, your entire relationship with consciousness transforms. You no longer experience sleep as unconsciousness, but as a daily return to your spiritual homeland, where your soul receives nourishment, guidance, and direct instruction from higher beings. Your night visions become a reliable source of spiritual wisdom that complements and often surpasses the insights available through ordinary thinking and analysis. You develop what Steiner called spiritual confidence, the deep knowing that you are never alone, never without guidance, because every night your soul enters into conscious communion with the spiritual forces that love and support your development. This understanding that your night visions matter more than you think becomes the foundation for developing supersensible perception during waking hours as well. The ultimate realization is that your night visions matter more than you think because they reveal the eternal nature of consciousness itself, the truth that your awareness is not produced by the physical brain, but is a spiritual reality that temporarily uses the brain as an instrument during earthly incarnation. Through conscious dream work, you begin to experience directly what Steiner taught, that consciousness is cosmic, eternal, and fundamentally spiritual, and that physical death is simply another threshold crossing similar to the daily transition into sleep. Your dreams become proof of your soul's immortality, evidence of your participation in spiritual realities that transcend physical existence, and preparation for the conscious spiritual life that awaits beyond the physical incarnation. This channel exists to support your spiritual awakening through Rudolf Steiner's revolutionary insights into the true nature of consciousness, dreams, and supersensible reality. Every video we create is designed to help you develop the spiritual organs of perception that allow conscious participation in the cosmic processes that guide human evolution. Share in the comments how you will begin applying this understanding that your night visions matter more than you think. What specific practices will you implement to develop conscious relationship with your dream life and the spiritual guidance it offers?